Welcome to 500,000 Reasons Economic Developers Should Use Facebook. We have two speakers today. The first is Anatolio Ubalde. Anatolio Ubalde is CEO of GIS Planning, Inc., an economic development internet company. His company's online strategies are currently implemented by economic development organizations in 42 states and serve the majority of the 100 largest cities in the USA. GIS Planning's invented the use of online GIS for site selection analysis for economic development, and today its Zoom Prospector Enterprise web-based GIS product is the industry standard. Before GIS Planning, he worked in local economic development with a focus on downtown revitalization, business attraction, business retention, and site selection assistance. He has a master's degree in city planning from UC Berkeley. Mr. Ubalde's work has been featured in The Wall Street Journal, Business Week, Forbes, Fortune, and the New York Times. Last year, he was named a fellow member of IEDC for achieving exceptional stature in the field of economic development. He is the co-author of the new book, Economic Development Online. The second speaker will be Eric Simunza. Mr. Simunza is experienced in workforce development, economic development, and urban planning. He is the co-author of Economic Development Marketing, Present and Future, a book based on national surveys of economic developers and site selectors that details recent trends and how communities promote themselves. At GIS Planning, Mr. Simunza is the product manager for ZoomProspector.com, a national site selection website. He holds a BA in Metropolitan Studies from New York University and a master's degree in City and Regional Planning from the University of California at Berkeley.
Thank you. So before we get started specifically with Facebook, I'd really like to put all of this in context to understand that this is generally about some trends that we're seeing in media. Media, as most of us knew it, was one-way media, things like the television or newspaper, where all of the information was produced by the media provider and we consumed it. It happened in one direction. What Web 2.0 did was it expanded that so that media became much more of a conversation, and it went in both directions. So through things like blogs, people could comment on other people's articles or writings, and you could even make comments on some of the traditional media such as newspaper websites and so on. Social media really took it to the next level because it was all based around the social quality of communication on the internet. And now this communication could happen with you and friends or companies or organizations, and this could be done through many different social media platforms. But in general, social media is simply another platform for communication and relationship building, and it will continue to evolve. But the whole idea here is just the way that communication and engagement is enhanced. This ladder shows the levels at which people are engaging on social media, from the folks at the bottom who are largely inactive, which doesn't mean that they're not on social media, but they're not doing much, all the way up to people who spend significant time on social media. The creators who publish, they put up articles, they write content, and so on. An important theoretical concept for social media is Metcalfe's law, and that's that the value of a network is proportional to the square of the number of users of the system. If you were to conceptualize this, you could think about the telephones. As more and more people use telephones, it becomes something that is necessary. It's something you can't work without. Your business could not exist without the ability to communicate on a telephone. And the more people that have it, the more value you have. Let's look at that on a graph. So for example, if there were 10 users, you would have the square of 10, which is 100. So you'd have a value of 100. This is interesting because you can see how quickly value increases compared to the number of users, but that's just for 10 people. What happens when you have nearly 5,000 people? Well, then you have a value of 25 million. So imagine what the square of 500 million people on Facebook is. Well, that's pretty obviously a very large value. This is a graph of my co-author of the book Economic Development Online's social graph. You can see there are certain clusters. One is professional, another one is personal, and you can also see that there are other smaller clusters of relationships and some that are individual. This is very common for many of our lives. This is just a way of actually visualizing what our social graph is. And this uses software that you can use to graph your social connections. Economic developers traditionally had two main ways that they could reach businesses. We often tried to target the most powerful influencers, the CEOs or presidents of companies, and the way that we could reach them was through traditional public relations. We wanted to get our community or our programs featured in things like the Wall Street Journal, Forbes, Fortune, Businessweek, Inc., or something like that, one of the mainstream media. However, that's a lot of effort. We couldn't really control what the writers wrote about. And it took a lot of effort to reach just a few people. Some economic developers who had huge budgets would try to reach the mass population through traditional mass marketing. However, this was unsuccessful because economic developers simply don't have the budgets necessary for traditional mass marketing. But now there's a new opportunity, and that is to reach the magic middle. This is reaching domain experts, people who could be industry experts, or people who are have a wide ability to reach others through the internet, people who have a large following, or who write or who are influential on the internet. These community fire starters, as well as thought leaders and opinion makers. And some of the best ways to reach this magic middle is through the internet and social media, such as blogs, social networks, viral marketing, and word of mouth. As it relates to word of mouth, of course, this word of mouth impact moves up as the domain experts and community fire starters and thought leaders are influenced. They influence the most powerful decision makers at the top. If you're wondering how big social media is, it has more advertising than email and mobile, and the ad revenue is growing at 34% annually. Also relevant to you and the businesses that are in your community is that companies with the highest level of social media activity increased revenue by 18% on average in the past 12 months. Social media has also created an enormous amount of data, and to give you a perspective on that, more data was created in 2009 than all of human history through 2008 combined. Why is that happening? It's because so much is getting produced by so many people through social media. This graph shows the U.S. monthly time spent on the internet sectors and the percent change from 2009 to 2010. You can see by far social networks and blogs is where people are spending their most time, 906 million hours, followed by games, email portals, instant messaging, and so on. What you see bracketed next to the number is the percentage change. So you can see social networks and games are growing, and although email is still the place that gets the third most amount of time, it's actually decreasing in the amount that people are using it, and a big reason for that is that email is getting replaced by communication that is happening internal to social networks. Customers are also expecting you to join the conversation. 85% believe companies should interact with customers on social media. And as you look across some of the most popular social media platforms, you'll see that there is a wide presence of people that we as economic developers are trying to target. Executive members from all of the Fortune 500 companies are on LinkedIn. On Facebook, the fastest growing demographic are people 35 and older. And on Twitter, people 45 to 54-year-old are the highest indexed age group. This is a photo from the city of Tallahassee showing that, in fact, even the senior citizens are getting involved in learning how to use Facebook. This is a photo of the oldest user on Facebook. She's 102. So if she can learn it, for all of us who are younger than 102, we can master it too. This looks at the age cohorts of people on the internet who use social networking sites, and it's no surprise that the youngest people have the highest levels of penetration. But you can also look at where the growth is, and there's significant growth that's happening in people who are in the 30 to 49, 50 to 64, and even 65 and over age cohorts. So at the end of the day, we really have to figure out as economic developers, why does this matter to us? And the answer is that it's simple. This is where your customers are, and they want you to join the conversation. There are three things that we as economic developers better get used to. The first is that information is in real time. Now with the internet, it's simply changed communication. Before, we might be able to get back to people, or it may take us some time to be in communication with either customers or the people who are working for us. But now all that information is instant, and the expectation is an expectation that you will get back to people instantly. What has made this the case is just that all of this information can fly so quickly through the internet and responses can happen in real time. As an example, look at what happened with the crisis that was happening in Iran. All of the information that people were getting and how they were getting updated was happening through Twitter. And that information is real time in social media in a way that even many of the large search engines are not able to index as quickly. The second thing that we need to get used to as economic developers is that we've lost control. We are losing control of our ability to control what people say or think, or the ways that they talk about our communities. For control freaks, this is probably very upsetting news, but it's already happened. The internet has allowed anybody to have a microphone to communicate their opinions, and they can do this very rapidly and easily through social media. And anybody who is a fan or a follower of what they're saying gets that information. So we need to get used to the fact that we can engage in the conversation, but we certainly cannot control it. The third is that communication is now an economic development team effort. This is not something that just your marketing director does or one specific member of your staff. Now this is something that everyone from your CEO or president or director does, all the way down to junior members or potentially even interns. Social media needs to be social. The more voices, the better, and it's the way to success. Marketing directors are really going to be turning into marketing coaches, and your organization is not limited to just its internal team. It even includes the advocates outside of your organization. The regional economic development organizations or the local government or the Chamber of Commerce, as well as the businesses and ambassadors of your community. So now let's get right into Facebook. Facebook launched in 2004, and it now has over 500 million users. Of those, half of them log on any given day. and they spend over 700 million minutes each month. The average user spends over 6 hours per month. That's a significant amount of time on one specific social media website platform. And if this is where people are spending their time, you have to take it very seriously, and you need to engage with them where they are. It's the old marketing cliche, you need to fish where the fish are. You have probably spent a lot of time thinking about LinkedIn because that's typically known as the social media site for business and for professionals. And I've given a number of talks about how to use LinkedIn for economic development. What this graph shows you, though, is how many accounts, how many people use these three social networks, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. And you can see that the Facebook users are significantly larger. LinkedIn 85 million, Facebook actually now over 550 million users. So there's a magnitude issue that needs to be addressed in your communication and marketing strategy, and Facebook is primed to reach many of the right people. This is how Facebook got to 500 million users, and you can see so much of that growth happened recently. As economic developers, we can take advantage of this. We can ride what I will call the S-curve of value. We don't have to build our own social network. We simply have to ride the wave of all of the people who are using Facebook and the other social media, because by engaging, we're already in the place where they are. For those of you who don't have a Facebook account, this is what it looks like when you log on to facebook.com. All you have to do to sign up is fill out a few fields, click, and you're signed up. Once you sign up, you create a profile page. And I want to make it very clear that a Facebook profile page is your individual personal profile. This is not the profile of your economic development organization, and those two things are different. So first, let's look at what your personal profile page is. And in this case, I'm showing the profile page of my co-author, Andrew. And you can see there's a photo which shows who he is in the profile. You can also see below his birth date, where he's located, who his friends are. And to the right, you can see his wall. And these are a number of posts that he has. And he's posted some articles from The Economist that he thought was interesting. You're all probably very familiar with this. You probably already have accounts. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Now let's talk about the elements of a Facebook page. And a Facebook page is what you would use for your economic development organization. So let's look at some of those elements. This is the Facebook page for the Greater Oklahoma City Chamber. You can see in the upper left-hand corner they have an organization logo. Down below that, they have information about the organization and the contact information. This varies from organization to organization, and you'll see some other examples that I'll show where there's more information. These are the people who like the organization. You can see their names. And this is how they like it. They simply click on that button that they like it, and then they show up as within that list. These are the tabs, and up in the tabs you can see their wall. You can click on another tab to get information about them. You can see the photos, video, search their available business properties, and get demographics about their area. This is the wall, and you can see some of the posts that they have. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Eric to show you how to create a Facebook page for your economic development organization.
Thanks, Anatolio. Okay, so as Anatoly just mentioned, there are differences between a Facebook page and a Facebook profile. The Facebook page is a relatively recent concept, and there are definitely some advantages to using this for your main method of communication as opposed to a profile. Here's some of the key differences are you are limited to 5,000 friends with a profile, but with the Facebook page there are fans instead of friends, and there's no limit to the number of fans that you can have for a page. You are limited to sending 20 emails at a time with a profile, but with a page you can email everyone in your fan base. And with a page, fan requests are automatically accepted, but with a profile you must manually accept new friend requests. Also, there are many apps that are only available for pages, and you can't install them on a profile. So for these reasons, it really makes a lot of sense to use a page if you want to communicate with a large number of followers. So I'm now going to show you how you can create a page. And here you go to facebook.com. If you have an account, the site might automatically log you in. So if so, click to log out. And once you are on the page, navigate to the bottom. You will see there's a link to create a page for a celebrity, band, or a business. Now on this screen, you'll want to choose the option on the right to create an official page. And beneath that, choose the option to create a page for a brand, product, or organization. In the submenu, there are a few choices that may be relevant to you. There's an option for government, for nonprofit, and for professional service. Here we're going to choose government and type in our name. Here I'm going to be the Anytown Economic Development. And next we have to verify that we are the official representative of the organization. Next it prompts me to choose an account to link the page with, and this will become the administrative account for the page. So what you should do is you should choose an account that you are comfortable using to interact with people on Facebook on a professional level. So if you have a personal account with potentially compromising content, then you may want to think about creating a new account strictly for professional use. So here I'm going to be entering in the account that will be the administrative account. And we'll click to log in. And then we're done. So you can see that it only took up a couple of minutes, and then it's up to you to customize the page and to add content to it.
Thanks, Eric. So now let's look, once you have your Facebook page set up, let's look at the wall posts and things you can share to engage your audience. So here we are now that the page is set up, and you can see you could post, for example, an invitation to a networking event. This is one way to engage the fans that you have for your organization. You can see here it says, "Don't forget sunset reception tonight at Bolero, 4 to 6. Come get your network on." Here's another post inviting discussion about what the community needs. If you're considering a new program or there's something going on in your community that you want feedback on, why not ask? The chamber says, "What are your best local shopping tips? What retail does Oklahoma City need? Let's get some discussion going." They can use this as a tool to engage people, which could influence, in fact, the retail that they target to bring into town. Here's another post inviting people to an event sponsored by the chamber. So if you want to, it says, "Curious about China, its history and economic growth, experience China with the chamber." And you'll see down below that there's actually a calendar that says the date, and if you click on that, you can actually add it to your Facebook calendar. This is the Laramie EDC's Facebook page, and you can see here that they actually post an available job. LinkedIn is certainly one place where a lot of people post jobs, but you can also post them on Facebook. In this post, this is actually a post from someone else that's thanking the EDC for including their business in the EDC's newsletter. So you can see they've already engaged somebody in a way where they're thanking them and they're creating goodwill with one of their local businesses. This is an example where they shared positive news saying that Wyoming ranked third in a 2011 State Business Tax Climate Index. And if you see at the bottom of that post, Kelly Hagler Cornish likes it. I don't know who Kelly is, but this is her way of being proud of what's happening in her community, and she likes this news that the EDC has shared. This is the Lincoln Economic Development Association in North Carolina's Facebook page. And you can see some of the things that they've posted. They've posted photos from the business missions they made throughout the year. Down below, you can see that this is a great way to respond to questions and educate people about your organization. Vicki Rogers says, "What are business missions? What do you do?" And then the economic development organization is able to respond and let them know that these business missions allow them to meet with companies who have an interest in North Carolina or the Charlotte region and are considering locating in the area, and that they also meet with major site selection consultants. There are going to be people in your community, or frankly all around the world, hopefully, who are interested in understanding what it is that your economic development organization does. You can engage and have great conversations with them directly within Facebook and educate them so that they can participate and be fans of what you're doing. Here's another example. They posted a video, and this is a video about the new Apple data center, which is located in the neighboring county. So beyond the wall, there's the Facebook page tabs, and you can actually get more information about your economic development through these, or you can share more information. So this first example is video. There's a video tab, and down below you can see these are all of the videos that the Greater Oklahoma City Chamber has posted. The first one is a chamber golf tournament, but you can also see they have information about the numbers related to Oklahoma City, and also a networking event. This is in the city of Danville. On the Photos tab, they have 9 photo albums. You can see the first one is a ribbon cutting. They also have information about the U.S. Green Energy announcement, which happened. So all of these photos are photos that their organization posted. Down below, you can see some photos that were posted by others that are related to their organization. So anybody who is on their Facebook page can access all of these photos. This is in San Luis Obispo County, and they have an events tab, and below you can actually see the events that they're inviting people to participate in. Everything from GIS Day to Green Building Ordinance, an Energy Retrofit Forum. By clicking on these and adding them, you can add them directly into your Facebook calendar. In Idaho, they've added an RSS blog tab, and that tab allows them to actually pull in the data from their blog directly into Facebook. So down below you can see that it's all integrated through RSS or Real Simple Syndication. And another nice element of sharing and promoting what they're doing is that they enable people to subscribe directly to their RSS feed, so they can actually push this information out to people who want to subscribe to it. The Anchorage Economic Development Corporation added an email sign-up tab. And what this does is it enables them to send their e-news directly to people who are interested in what they're up to. And this is great because this is a much better way of providing information than sending emails to people who aren't interested or spamming people. And this is a way to know who wants more information. It could be somebody who's local, or it could be a site selector, or somebody who's making a corporate real estate decision about where to locate. Saginaw Future in Michigan is doing something really interesting. They have a music tab. And on their music tab, you can actually download music. The name of the song is By Michigan. So it's another way of promoting what's going on in Michigan and in Saginaw. In Danville, they've added a property search tab. So for businesses that are interested in finding an actual building or developable land, they can select the type that they're looking for, enter the size, and find the property directly through Danville's Facebook page. For the Greater Waco Chamber in Texas, they've added a demographics tab. And on this demographics tab, you can see information about the people, labor force, business, and so on, so that they can get people who are on the Facebook page can get an overview of the community. Certainly, the demographics is an important part of sharing why your community is unique and special. This is a letter that Martin County's Business Development Board sent out thanking people for supporting a tax abatement referendum that won. So again, another way of communicating through social media on their Facebook page. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Eric to tell you 3 ways to improve your Facebook page.
Okay, yes, we do have a few ways that you can go about improving your page, so I'm going to go through them right here. The first method is to claim your vanity URL. So here we're going to look at a page for the Lincoln Economic Development Association. They have a very simple URL. It's facebook.com/LincolnEDA. This is something that's easy to forward to people and have them remember, but this was not their URL by default. When you first set up a page, the URL for the page will have a long string of characters that would be difficult for anyone to remember, and looks a little intimidating. So to claim your vanity URL, you must be an admin of your page and have at least 25 fans. So you may have to promote it a little bit to your friends or associates to get to that level. Once you've been able to do this, you can go to facebook.com/username, and from there you can claim your URL. The next way to improve your page is to use a custom landing tab. So what this means is you want to change the default screen that appears when someone accesses your Facebook page. So here's the page for United Airlines. They've created a tab that says called Stay Connected, and they've programmed their page so that visitors to their page see this message and this content first, rather than the wall or the info page. You see there's some pictures and looks like a survey, several different elements here that would not be there by default. So this can be done through some fairly simple programming using the Facebook markup language, the programming language. Here's another example of something that could be a landing tab. This is for Danville, Virginia. It just has some quick links that can be used to go out to various pieces of their site that they think would be valuable to people. Here's the landing tab for allfacebook.com, and this is allfacebook is a resource with a lot of tips and tricks for using Facebook. And they have an interesting feature here that's sometimes referred to as ghosting. You can see there's a message in a box here that says that if I click to like allFacebook, I will get access to a free ebook. And here's the screen you see once you click to like allFacebook. You can see and access content that was previously inaccessible. You can download that ebook. So this is a good way to get likes for your page, and again can be implemented rather easily by anyone familiar with the Facebook markup language. And the third way to improve your page is to install apps that will enhance it. And here I'm going to show you, this is exciting, I'll show you our newly released apps, which are the first applications for economic development on Facebook. So first I'm going to show you our demographics application. So to start, you want to go to facebook.com/Zoom Prospector. And once you're there, you'll see links for 2 applications, one for property search and one for demographics. So we're going to start by adding the demographics application. So go down and click the link there to install. The installation page that comes next will walk us through a few steps to install the page. First, we'll enter the name of the city or county that we want to pull demographics for. And when I start typing here, you can see there'll be a drop-down list of places that match my search. and I'm going to choose Oklahoma City from the list here. And next, I have an option to upload a banner. This is a nice way to customize your page, but it's important to know that if you use this option, you must resize your image to be exactly 518 pixels wide. You can resize your image using any photo editing software. I can also ignore this option if I want, in which case the application will load a default banner. So here I'm just going to click to browse and find the image, and next I'll save and continue. And here's where I'm prompted to choose the Facebook page that I want to customize with demographics. I'm presented here with a list of all the pages for which I'm an admin. If I wasn't an admin for a Facebook page, I would have the option here to create a page. But as you saw earlier, I already created a page for the Anytown economic development. I see that option here, so I'll select that and save and continue. Now I get a message that a new tab has been added to my Facebook page. It shows me that if I don't see the tab, I can click the plus tab to add the new tab, and here I get the option to have the application access my Facebook page. Now I'm back on my Anytown EDC page. Next to the regular tabs for wall and info, on the end you can see there's a new tab for demographics. And when I open up this tab, I see that demographics have loaded for Oklahoma City straight from zoomprospector.com. You can see, I'll scroll down here, you can see all the statistics on population, labor force, and entrepreneurship. This is information that's important to any prospective businesses. So that's how you can add demographics to your page. So next here, I'm going to show you how to add property search to your page. And like before, we start from Zoom Prospector's Facebook page. I'll click to install the property search application. The first step is to choose the geography that I want to limit any property searches to, since I only want users to search properties in my service area. There are a couple options for this. If I'm a GIS planning client, I can simply enter the name of my organization. So I'm going to enter the city of Danville. If I'm not a client, I can choose to enter a city or county. Not all cities and counties are covered, and there's a link on the page where you can refer to our coverage map. Here I'll enter Danville. And next I have the option to add featured properties. So if there are any particular sites and buildings I want to highlight, I can do that here. This may take a minute or two, but it's an optional step. You need to go to zoomprospector.com and search to find the property that you want to highlight. Once you find it, you'll look in the URL of the property for a string of numbers that falls after the PID equals and before the ampersand. Copy that, take note of it, enter it in the section here. You can feature up to 3 properties. Like before, I can add a banner image. I'll skip that here. And next, I can also add contact info for my EDO. This is information that should be what you're comfortable displaying on your Facebook page to any visitor. There are many fields, but enter in only the fields that seem appropriate. If you leave any field blank, it will not appear on the page. Next, I'll choose which page to add the application to. So back to Anytown. And it also shows me that now I'm back on the page for Anytown Economic Development. I don't see the Properties tab right away, but that's because I have too many tabs on the page. It's hiding under the Arrow tab. To make it visible, I'm going to drag it in front of the Discussions tab and then reload, so the alignment works right. When I access the Properties tab now, I'm going to see, here it's loading, I see my featured properties are right on the page here, and clicking on any of them will take me to that property's detailed report. Below that is my contact information that I entered in the installations. And on the top is a search box. I can specify property type, size, and for sale for lease. And when I click on search here, I'm directed to a list of search results in zoomprospector.com. It's loading up. And this list of search results is limited to the city of Danville. I can click on any property in the results here and get more details about it. So when I scroll down, I can see the broker and contact information and information on utilities. And if I want to run more detailed analysis on demographics or surrounding businesses, I can link out to one of our networked client sites. And again, that took just a couple of minutes to enable property search right on my Facebook page. And just another note to remember, if you are not a client, you may still be able to enable property search if properties have been added in your area. If no properties are in your area, the property search application can be installed, but it won't return any results. So to determine if properties are in your area, you can refer to that coverage map on the installation page, or you can contact us directly at info@zoomprospector.com.
So this is the URL to download those applications. It's just facebook.com/zoomprospector.
Okay, let's get started with the question and answer portion of this webinar. I'm looking over the questions now, and I'll combine and paraphrase to keep things going. So let's start with the first question. It seems like there's a lot of people who like the content you shared today, because there were a number of questions from people asking how to get this presentation. Will you make it available to the attendees?
A video copy of this presentation will be made available, and an email will be sent to you to how to access the presentation, and that should be available by next week.
Okay. Next question. What is the best way to go about attracting fans? We've had an existing page for over a year, but only about 15 to 20 fans that I found by searching for our contacts.
To give a short answer to that question, I'd recommend two things. First, continue to post quality information on your page in the form of announcements, conversations, pictures, video, and data that would act as a form of encouragement to click on the like button. Second, it's very likely that there are many people and businesses that are authentically fans of your city, county, region, state, chamber, or EDC. Sometimes all you have to do is ask them. You can do this by requesting that they like you on your website, your Facebook wall, or even your email signature. If you're asking outside of Facebook, make sure you create a hyperlink that gets them directly to your Facebook page.
Next question. Are there any other similar or useful tools or apps for Facebook pages that you can recommend?
There are many Facebook applications or apps available for any Facebook page. We showed some of them to you already in the presentation. For example, you can add an app that allows your blog posts to appear under a Facebook tab on your page. This will enable you to repurpose the same content you have on your blog to appear on your page. Also, people can subscribe to this using an RSS feed. Another example is using an app to allow people to receive your email newsletters. It's much better to send email to people who have asked for it than by spamming people. And also, as far as economic development specific Facebook apps, through this webinar we are announcing the first ones in the world. Now you can add apps uniquely designed for our economic development profession, including demographics for your area, and also the ability to search for available properties and developable land for businesses.
All right, next question. What are your suggestions to encourage people to like your organization's Facebook page?
Another way you can get people to click and like your organization is to use a strategy similar to what Eric showed. To access the Facebook page for the company giving their books away for free, you have to click on the like button. People are already very used to clicking on things they like on Facebook, and it doesn't take much effort considering the free value they get from liking your page. This is fairly simple to do using FBML, and if you would like to know specifically how to do this, you should send Eric an email as he's an expert on it.
The next question is, do we have the ability to make corrections to our demographic pages?
One thing we hear repeatedly from corporate real estate executives and site selection consultants is that they often don't trust the data that economic developers provide them that was created by the economic developers. What they really want is third-party data which is verified and objective. So all of the data that comes from Zoom Prospector is only nationally consistent third-party data that comes from a variety of data sources.
Next question. How does Zoom Prospector compare with CoStar? How is it different? How is it the same?
These two services are different. CoStar is a property database that is available to commercial real estate agents and brokers that buy a subscription to its service. Zoom Prospector is designed so that businesses can search for communities that are the best match for their companies based on demographic, labor, geographic, industry, and other site selection characteristics. Both services have property search, but Zoom Prospector is designed to connect businesses and site selection consultants with economic developers so that they can help make business investments in the economic developers' communities.
It seems that we have some overachievers in the audience. One of the comments sent to us says that they've already installed the property search application to their Facebook page.
All right, congratulations to whomever that was. I told you it was fast. For those of you that need a little help, though, feel free to email me and I can walk you through the process.
The next question. We are a regional economic development organization that covers 11 counties. We want to promote all of the cities and counties. How can we do that using the new economic development Facebook apps?
As Anatolia mentioned, social media is a great way for you and all the economic development organizations in your region to work as a team. And yes, you can certainly promote investment in your partner cities. If you are a GIS planning client, you can simply select your organization's name when you are installing the property search app. It will allow visitors to your Facebook page to search for properties throughout your entire 11-county region. For the cities and counties that are covered by your regional organization, you can take your leadership position to teach them how they can install the property and demographic apps on their Facebook pages. When they install the property app, instead of putting in the name of your organization, they can just enter the name of their city or county, and the property search will only be for the geography they serve.
The next question is, if you already have a Facebook profile created, how do you change it to a page?
So Facebook does not have an easy mechanism for that kind of change, but there is a way you can ease the migration. What you can do is when you create a Facebook page, you can make admins of both the professional account you want to use, and also if you make an admin of the profile page for your organization, the previous one that you created. Then once you've tailored your page and made it presentable, you can log in and navigate back to this new Facebook page. Choose the Suggest to Friends option, will allow you to select all of the friends of the organization's profile and then email them. And you can explain that you are migrating your organization's Facebook presence to a new Facebook page and that this will allow for better interaction. You can then also post on the wall of your old profile, letting them know that you are migrating. So there's no very simple way to do this through Facebook, but that's the best way that may exist at the present time.
Next question. We have a hard time getting conversations going from our site. Any suggestions? People only seem to like our posts, so there's no real dialogue happening.
If you're having a difficult time getting conversations started, think about what you'd do to get a conversation started in a non-virtual setting. If you were at a meeting or at a networking event, think of what you would do that would most engage people to talk. Find subjects that people can get excited about and want to talk about. For example, what about if your community made some national ranking? Or is there some demographic or labor data about your community that you think is positive and would surprise people if they knew it? Has someone else done research about your area that's noteworthy? Another thing you can post is specific questions to get people's opinions. People love giving their opinions, which is one of the reasons that social media has become so popular. If you have a new program or development you're considering, ask your fans what they think about it.
The next question is, what if I want to invite people to see certain things instead of everyone seeing it?
In your personal Facebook profile, you can adjust your privacy settings to determine who sees which content. Facebook pages for organizations are different and are used for a different purpose than your private profile. It isn't clear to me exactly what you'd want to keep private on your Facebook page or exclude certain people from seeing, but if you want to keep something private, I recommend you not post it on your Facebook page or anywhere on the public internet. If it's a confidential document, images, or video, you should put that in a protected location with secure access.
Next question. Do you have any examples of organizations who have used Facebook to generate some revenue through ads, etc.?
You certainly could include advertisements in your Facebook page, especially if you design it with FBML. However, I've never heard about any EDOs doing this. Also, it probably wouldn't create much revenue for your organization if you charge the same advertising rates that Facebook charges. Even if you made $1 for every click on an advertisement, it would take a lot of clicks before you made any money.
Next question. Where does Zoom Prospector get their information on properties? Is this via MLS, or do local realtors actually have to utilize Zoom Prospector?
Zoom Prospector gets its information on properties from a variety of sources. All of the property data comes from the websites of economic development organizations that use Zoom Prospector Enterprise. The only way for us to promote these properties is if they are provided to us by these economic developers. However, the economic developers get properties listed on their websites a variety of ways. Some have the properties directly entered into their websites. Others have a data feed which automatically pulls in properties from a commercial real estate exchange or multiple listing service. If you're interested in learning how to get your properties on zoomprospector.com, just send me an email to info@zoomprospector.com or directly to me.
Next question is, does the site go live instantly, or do you get a chance to preview it first?
Once you install the Facebook app, it goes live instantly. However, if you don't like it, you can uninstall it in seconds. If you would like to get a preview of what it will look like before you install it, you can take a look at any of the other economic development organizations that have already installed it.
Next question. Regarding Zoom Prospector application, what about communities that don't follow standard census geography?
At the moment, the demographic data is provided for every city and county in the United States. In the future, we'll be adding different types of geographies. The property search is by city, county, or unique geographies for select economic development organizations.
Okay, the next question. Our city is concerned about negative string of conversations. Is there a way to monitor or control those conversations?
You can definitely monitor the conversations using social media tracking tools. Twitter search is a great tool to use. You can monitor multiple topics through services like Hootsuite. For sentiment about your community, try out twens.com. In response to the second part of your question, there's no way to control the conversations. Just like in the public, whether on the street or in a public meeting, people have freedom of speech, and they're really using it on social networks. And they have a big bullhorn to promote whatever opinion they have. Although you can't control the conversation, you can certainly engage in it. The only way to fight social media fire is with social media water. You can't change everyone's mind, but you can change and influence some people.
Next question. What examples exist of successful business relocation as a result of Facebook marketing?
There were many skeptics of the use of social media for economic development early on, but now I hear many examples of economic developers telling me that they've received business leads directly through social media. And they are engaging in conversations on Facebook with business owners and decision makers. I don't think anyone will make a relocation decision solely based on what they do on Facebook, just like they wouldn't make a decision only based on what they find on your website or in a news article. But that's not the goal of any of these communication channels anyway. What you want them to do is to provide you leads so that that person takes the next step to contact you personally, to move the project forward, whether that's a business startup, expansion, or relocation.
That's all the time we have for questions. Thank you, Anatolio and Eric, for giving us 500 million reasons why economic developers should use Facebook.